Okay, let's start with our discussion with the sexual self. First, let's have development of sex characteristics and the human reproductive system. So in the previous module, we already distinguished puberty from adolescence. So in this case, we will be focusing on the reproductive system as well as the development of the secondary characteristics that are manifested in puberty. So for primary characteristics, they are present at birth na. These are the physical distinctions of male and female. So syempre for male, they are born to have penis, uh, testis, scrotum, and also gonads. While for female, they already have vagina, uterus, and ovaries, as well as gonads when they are born. For secondary characteristics naman, so sabi nga natin in the previous module on physical self, there is the development of the secondary sex characteristics on the onset of puberty. Kasi that's the time wherein lumalaki yung testicles or yung testis ng isang lalaki. There is also sperm production and appearance of the facial, pubic, and even other body hair. And syempre, there is the deepening of voice as well as the production of both testosterone and androgens. While for female naman, there is the enlargement of breasts and also yung onset ng menstruation na tinatawag natin na menarche. There is also widening of hips and the growth of the pubic hair. And syempre, there is also the production of both estrogen and progesterone. So you have to remember, class, that unlike men, female hormones are not produced consistently. Their production follows a cyclical pattern on an approximately 28-day monthly cycle. And this 28-day monthly cycle varies from female to female, di ba? Minsan, 21 pa lang, 21 days pa lang, nagkakaroon na sila ng menstruation, o kaya naman at maybe on the 32nd day, doon pa lang sila nagkakaroon ng menstruation. So, syempre, it varies from body to body. Uh, the greatest production occurs during ovulation period and when the egg is released from the ovaries. And when is ovulation happening? It happens 12 to 14 days before the next menstrual period. So, nilagay ko na dyan yung average, class kung kailan nga ba nagkakaroon ng ovulation. And please be reminded that I already corrected the PowerPoint presentation that we are using. So, for the human reproductive system, let's first go to the male reproductive system. We have testicles. So, ano daw ba yung testicles? This is just a review of your elementary lessons. They are the two ball-like glands inside the scrotum, and that they are the ones responsible for the production of the sperm and also of the hormones called testosterone. While for the epididymis, it's the tube wherein your sperm matures. And also, this is the part that holds your sperm before the male ejaculates. Then, next is the cremaster. So, ano daw ba yung ginagawa ni cremaster? So, it's a muscle that is responsible for shrinking the scrotum and also the testicles uh, and bringing these two parts of the reproductive system closer to the body. So, when you are feeling cold and you are aroused, or sometimes when someone touch your inner thigh. So that's the muscle responsible for such movement. While for prostate gland naman, prostate gland is a fluid that helps the sperm move. So it's about the size of a golf ball. While for Cowper's gland, it's the fluid called pre-ejaculate where the semen swims. Nakuha ba yung pinagkaiba ng prostate at saka ng Cowper's? So si prostate gland, it helps the motility of the sperm, while for Cowper's gland, it's the fluid where the semen is located. So And also, it reduces the friction by which the semen can easily move. So, next po is the urethra. So, tandaan nyo lang na if we are talking about urethra, ang palagi nating clue dyan is responsible for holding the urine. So, it's the tube that carries the urine. Whether it's male or female reproductive system, yun lang yung papel ng urethra. And syempre, ang pagdating sa lalaki, hindi lang naman urine yung nagiging ah, yung hino-hold niya or pinapadaan niya. Siyempre, we have the pre-ejaculate and also the semen. So while for seminal vesicles, they are two small organs naman that produce semen and the fluid that sperm moves around in. The penis, so you have the glands. When you say glands, it's the head or the tip of the penis. And dito lumalabas yung pre-ejaculate or yung semen. And also, syempre, yung ihi ng mga lalaki. While for shaft, it's the whole or it's the whole body from the tip down to the part that connects to the lower body. While for the foreskin naman, it is the one being removed during the process of circumcision. And also, when the penis gets hard, the foreskin will pull back and the tip will be exposed. You have frenulum. Ano naman yung frenulum na yan? It's where the foreskin meets the underside of the penis. So you just take a look at the illustration class. And usually, pag sinabi natin na frenulum, yun yung small V, just below the head or the tip of the penis. While for scrotum naman, it's the sac of skin that hangs below your penis. And syempre, it protects and holds the testicles. And sometimes, yung scrotum is covered by the wrinkly skin or hair. So, ano naman daw yung corona? Yung corona naman, it's the ridge of tissue around the glands of the penis. The female reproductive system, we have vagina and also the uterus. The vagina is the canal that joins the cervix to the outside of the body. And also, it is known as the birth canal kasi dito lumalabas yung baby kapag nanganganak yung mga babae. While for uterus naman, ito yung part na kung saan it is considered as the home of the developing fetus. And there are two parts of uterus. You have the cervix, which is the opening into the vagina, while the corpus is the one that expands while the baby develops inside the uterus. We also have ovaries, and they are small, oval-shaped glands that are located in the side of the uterus. And they are the ones responsible for the production of eggs and hormones. While for fallopian tube naman, they serve as pathways for the ova. And these are the tube na responsible in the traveling of ovaries from traveling of the eggs from the ovaries going to the uterus. So syempre, it's the part by which the fertilization of the egg happens. So halimbawa daw, yung isang sperm na fertilize na niya yung egg in the part of the fallopian tube, hindi na syempre ma-fertilize yung iba pang mga eggs. Or there are chances syempre na na-fertilize pa rin yung ibang egg and that's the reason why nagkakaroon ng twins. Uh, to be specific naman with the part of the vagina, there is labia and also there is clitoris. So labia is divided into two. You have the labia majora and also labia minora. So pag sinabi nating labia majora, it's the fleshy outer part of the vagina and it's usually covered by pubic hair, while the inner part is inside the labia majora. So for clitoris naman, it's the most sensitive part of the vagina kasi this is where sexual arousal happens for female. So you have the opening of the vagina and It's right below the urethral opening. And then you have the mons pubis. So this is the part naman that's covered by pubic hair. And also, it cushions the pubic bone. For Bartholin's glands, this is the gland naman that lubricates the vagina. While for hymen, it's the very thin, fleshy tissue that stretches across part of the opening to the vagina. And while for the G-spot naman, this is the one very sensitive and swells when it becomes turned on. And also, uh, when it is being touched. For the opening of the urethra, sabi ko nga sa inyo, pag halimbawa urethra yung topic natin or i-describe na part, it is the one responsible for holding the pee out. So, what are the different developmental aspects of the reproductive system? Actually, it's not developmental aspect of the nervous system. It is actually the different problems associated with the reproductive system. So, for a while, ayusin lang natin. Baka magkamali kayo doon sa exam. So, they are the problems associated with the reproductive system. Okay, so we have pseudohermaphrodites or pseudohermaphroditism. That's the proper term for it. Kasi noun yung pinag-uusapan natin dito. While for cryptorchidism, so it's correct naman. And then the other one is phimosis. So let's go straight to pseudohermaphroditism. What is it? Pag sinabi natin na hermaphroditism, it's the problem by which the individuals having accessory reproductive structures that do not match their gonads. So alam natin na yung gonads, they are located in the inner part of the reproductive system. So ibig sabihin, what you see outside is different from the internal parts of the reproductive system. So when it's pseudohermaphroditism, magkaiba yung nasa labas at saka yung nasa loob. So, iba si gonads and then iba yung outer genitalia niya. While the other type of hermaphroditism naman class is called true hermaphroditism. Pag true hermaphroditism, the two sex organs are present and also even the gonads inside are both present then for male and female characteristics. So let's go to cryptorchidism. Cryptorchidism naman is the failure of the testis to make the normal descent. Hindi siya nasa tamang posisyon. So it may result in the sterility of the male and also mataas din yung risk nila na makakuha ng cancer when they have cryptorchidism. Kasi hindi ba sabi nga natin for the testis to be able to produce good sperms or healthy sperms, kailangan nasa tamang posisyon sila. So what is phimosis naman? Phimosis is the narrowing of the foreskin of the male reproductive organ and misplaced urethral opening. So yung phimosis, ito yung abnormality na po pwedeng mangyari doon sa isang tao when the person did not go through the process of circumcision. So, kasi nagkakaroon sila ng infection. So, tandaan nyo yun. Next is sexual arousal and erogenous zone. So, what turns people on? So, ano nga daw ba yung tinatawag natin na erogenous zone? So when you say erogenous zone, these are the parts of the body that are very sensitive and may cause sexual arousal when touched in sexual manner. So for these zones, hindi siya constant and applicable to all humans. It may differ from person to person also kasi syempre uh, there are level of sensitivities that really vary from person to person. So there are other sexual activities that may be causing the arousal of the erogenous zone. So this might include intimate kissing, cuddling, necking, petting, or touching the erogenous zones that may be uniquely important to sexual activity. So, syempre, ano-ano daw yung erogenous zone na yan or known to be very sensitive. And why are they sensitive? Because they have a lot of nerve endings. So, that's the primary reason why sobrang sensitive ng parts na yan. You have the mouth, the breath, syempre, consisting of the nipple and also the lateral breast tissue. You also have the reproductive organs, such as penis and also vagina, anus, neck, thighs, abdomen, ears, and other body surface. So, ayun na nga, sabi natin, for erogenous zone, it really varies from person to person because there is also variations when it comes to the hormonal level. And syempre, when it comes to the brain activity that produces the sexual desire or where the sexual desire primarily originates. And syempre, on the level of control when it comes to our sexual behavior. So, kaya ganun siya. So, ayan, na-discuss na natin to kanina. For human sexual behavior naman, they are defined as the activity solitary, even between persons or in group, that may include sexual arousal. So what are the different factors of human sexual behavior? Dalawa lang naman yan palagi, hindi ba? It's always the nature versus nurture. So if it's nature, it's inherited sexual response. It comes from the genetic inheritance of the person. There are sexual traits or behavior na innate doon sa tao na possible na namana niya coming from the parents. While for degree of restraint, pinahirap lang yung terminology niya dito, but it's on nurture. Pag sinabi natin na nurture, it's influenced by the society, the peers, the groups, and also the beliefs that exist within the system of the person. So what's coitus? Coitus is the other terminology for sex. So there's no sex if there is no insertion of the male reproductive organ into the female reproductive organ. So what are the different forms of coitus? So syempre you have premarital, marital, extramarital, and postmarital. For premarital, so it's the sexual activity performed by individuals who are not married or who are not yet married. While for marital, it coitus here is seen as the obligation and also socially sanctioned long-term mating arrangement. While for extramarital naman, it is being condemned kasi there's always double standard. So ayan, why is there a double standard? O ano nga daw ba yung behavior natin towards extramarital affair? Are we more accepting when the extramarital affair is being, involves the husband or if the extramarital affair involves the wife? So, yun. It occurs when the married person, syempre, engages in the sexual activities with someone who is not his or her spouse. And syempre, for postmarital naman, it's usually ignored kasi it's like sex with the ex, not the ex-boyfriend, not the ex-MU, but of course, ex-husband or wife. Why? Of course, we are talking about the legal process na dito pagdating sa postmarital. Ikinasal sila dati and then siguro nagkita. So, they had sex. So, ayan. For phases of sexual response, we have the sexual response cycle that are being described in different phases, such as excitement, plateau, orgasm, and resolution. So, syempre, for both, there is always the increase of pulse rate, blood pressure, and also breathing. Yun lang naman yung palagi nating tatandaan in the excitement phase na present even for male and female. While for plateau stage naman, so kung kanina tumataas, bumibilis yung paghinga, syempre in plateau, mas mabilis kaysa dun sa excitement stage. And also there are changes in the body, even in the heart rate as well as the body temperature. Next is for orgasm, syempre, uh, dito they have different forms of orgasm. So let's not talk about this one. Dun na lang tayo mamaya pag nagkaroon na tayo ng distinction. So for resolution, again, body temperature and other physiological changes or goes back to its normal state after the orgasm. Kasi resolution, kumbaga tapos na eh. Okay, let's go to male. Pag sinabi natin na male, under excitement stage, so the penis becomes erected, and then the scrotum thickens, and then the testes increase in size. So while the male individual reaches plateau stage, it becomes more erected. Kung sabi nga natin kanina, doon sa phases na pinagdadaanan ng dalawa, the changes in the body continue and even becomes more rapid or increased in terms of its intensity or degree. So the circumference of the head also increases and also few drops of fluid being released. So ano yung nagiging release, I mean yung fluids na nare-release na yon, they are called the pre-ejaculate or pre-cum. Tandaan niyo yan, it's also included in the exam. So for orgasm naman, under male, so there's the contraction of the muscle in and around the penis, and also there's the stimulation on the release of the sperm, of the semen that contains the sperm cell. So syempre after the orgasm, sabi nga natin goes back to the normal stage. So wala nang erection, nagde-decrease na sa size yung testes, and then the skin of the scrotum will become thin again. After that, male individuals will become very unresponsive to sexual stimulation. And then, syempre, the period of time will already be elapsing. So, let's go naman to female. So, what's the excitement stage or how is it identified by, uh, how is it identified in the females? Okay. So, syempre, first, the clitoris swells, the vaginal lips will open, and also the inside of it will become wet. And then as they reach the plateau stage, so syempre it's the outer part of the vagina that swells and surge increased amount of blood to that, there is increased blood supply or amount of blood within that area. And then the clitoris will retract under such clitoral hood because it becomes highly sensitive. And then, syempre, yung outer lips of the vagina will become redder. So, as they reach naman orgasm, there's the contraction of the pelvic muscle, syempre, to give way to the orgasm of the female individual. So, uh, these muscles are the ones that may be found in the vaginal walls. And syempre, for female, the orgasm may happen multiple times. So for resolution naman, the clitoris and the vagina will return to its normal state. And syempre, uh, the last one is no longer important. It must be included in the orgasm stage. Because in here, it was mentioned that females are capable of repeated climax even without rest period. Syempre, imposible naman yun. Resolution na yun. Females will no longer be experiencing climax at that time. So, yan. Tandaan nyo tong graph na to. So, let's go to attraction, love, and attachment. So, syempre, as adolescents grow and mature, so we make new patterns of relationship commitments with other people. So, there's dating and courtship that emerge during adolescence period, and also, there's a lot of development, whether it's sexually or social. I mean, in terms of social aspect or sexual aspect. So, siyempre, in developing the relationship, whether it's dating or courtship man yan, everything starts with physical attractiveness, di ba? Kumbaga, hindi ka naman magde-date ng isang tao na hindi mo naman siya type. So, siyempre, a person must meet your standards when it comes to physical attractiveness. For you to regard that person to be pleasing or to be beautiful. There is also the consideration of social norms, syempre. Pag sinabi na nating social norms niyan, yun yung nabanggit ko kanina na may degree of restraint. So, pag ang tinutukoy na natin ay degree of restraint, then the society now dictates who is appropriate to become lovers and spouses. And then when it comes to social exchange naman, so syempre, it's the attraction being the result of the exchange process. So, ano daw yung nangyayari niyan pag sinasabi natin na social exchange. So, siyempre, type kita, very attracted ako sa'yo physically, papakopyahin kita ng activity ko, 'di ba? So, in return, ililibre kita mamaya sa Starbucks. So, those are the example of sharing of social things. Kasi 'di ba, when you reciprocate the action of the other person or someone from the opposite or maybe same sex, 'di ba? Most especially when you are in dating, getting to know and courtship stage, syempre you reciprocate the action of the person. Well, for romantic love naman, it includes the combination of different emotions such as anger, fear, sexual desire, jealousy, being the sources of sufferings. And syempre, it also has a strong component of sexual attraction and infatuation that is often experienced in the early stage of love relationship. So tandaan, going back to the definition provided in this slide, pag sinabing romantic love, it involves different forms of emotion. Syempre, it is not necessary na you only feel happiness and love most of the time. Kasi if it's romantic love, there will really be combination of different emotions. Kasi nga, you are exposed to different situations na, di ba? So, what are the different components of love? So, tandaan class, if wala nito, isa sa mga components na to ay wala sa inyo, then there is no love. So, number one is intimacy. Close ba kayo? Diba? Are you connected with each other? Like, do you consider each other to be more than friends? Like, more special than friends? Are you very comfortable with the person sharing about your dreams, aspirations, or any other concerns, whether positive or negative man yan? For passion naman, it refers to the drive that lead to romance, physical attraction, and sexual consummation. Like, meron bang eagerness na parang gustong-gusto mo siyang makita palagi? Like, parang meron bang instances that you only want to see the person and you really can separate that person from the rest of the crowd. So, ganun kasi yung passion, di ba? Parang medyo may umaapoy-apoy na nakikita ka sa kanya that you really find that person attractive kahit hindi naman talaga siya masyadong attractive, di ba? Basta para sa akin pogi siya, basta para sa akin maganda siya, wala ka na doon. So, ganun yung klase ng passion. Love ko siya and I cannot explain why. So, yun yun. And syempre, yung letter C, there should be commitment. There should be the decision that you love each other. And that there's the decision that you commit to be with each other every day. So pag halimbawa, hindi ba, wala kayong label, then automatic, wala kayong commitment. 'Di ba? Kasi there's no decision to love. Ikaw lang mag-isa yung nag-decide na mahalin siya. Pero yun palang isa, hindi ka naman niya masyadong gusto. Gusto lang niya talaga ng libangan. So, syempre, it must be mutual. Kasi when you love each other, it must be a decision that you create every day. Next is Fisher ingredients of romantic love. So you have lust, you have attraction, and you have attachment. So syempre for lust naman, there's the desire for sexual gratification. So ano yung equivalent nito kay Rosenberg kanina? There must be passion, 'di ba? Medyo babaan natin ng konti ang degree. Ah, so next is attraction naman. So ang attraction naman is again associated with the sexual attraction. So the fact that you chose someone coming from the same sex or opposite sex, then there must be syempre sexual gratification na hinahanap ka from that person. Na syempre, you cannot uh, you cannot develop sexual attraction naman basically if you are not physically attracted to the person, 'di ba? How can you be attracted to someone naman na hindi nagto-toothbrush, hindi naliligo, hindi ba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, everything starts with a physical attraction. Next is attachment. So for attachment naman, it occurs when an individual desires to connect with another person intimately. So, ayun, yung kanina, are you close? 'Di ba? Is there intimacy? Gustong-gusto mo ba siyang nakakausap o baka naman pinapatayan ka na niya ng cellphone, 'di ba? Gano'n yung tapos isinisin niya mga 20 messages ka na tapos hindi pa siya nagre-reply. So, there's no attachment. There's also no intimacy in that, 'di ba? Hindi po puwedeng walang data-data lang kasi kung gusto ka niya kahit ₱5 lang na data 'yan, magpapa-load 'yan, maka-reply lang sa'yo. So next is for John Bowlby. So what's romantic love and the concept of John Bowlby? So si John Bowlby, ito yung madalas niyong mali dun sa quiz na isa, 'di ba? Kasi si John Bowlby, ang sinasagot niyo pilit si Freud. Si Freud walang kinalaman yun sa love, sex lang ang sinasabi ni Freud. Pero pag sinabi natin na John Bowlby, ang palagi niyang theory ay related sa affection. And for him, romantic love daw is the affection that binds the person to an intimate companion. And also, it's the ability to form stable and close relationship which begins at infancy in a child's earliest experiences with a caregiver who meets his or her needs. So, ayun. Yung nung una, uh, sa discussion natin na isa sa mga module, it was related to the love being given by the caregiver. Now, yung love daw na yon is being developed and also to the person that we choose to become our companion or someone to be in a romantic relationship with us. So, ngayon siyempre, kung ano man daw yung stability, kung anong klaseng closeness yung na-form natin during infancy and even during childhood or the kind of love that we were able to experience at home, that's also the kind of love that we are able to share with the person whom we have a romantic relationship with. Ayun. So, ganun lang naman siya. So, kung paano ka magmahal, malaki yung part ng mga parents natin do'n. Sexual orientation, we have asexual. So when you say asexual, you are not attracted to any gender. Wala talagang nafi-feel na kahit ano, 'di ba? For bisexual naman, so it's the sexual orientation that by which you are attracted to more than one gender. Kaya nga siya bisexual. So for heterosexual naman, this is syempre classified as male and female kasi they are attracted to the opposite sex. While for homosexual naman, they are attracted to the same gender. So, yun yung pinagkaiba ng homo at saka ng hetero. Hetero, if you are a straight male or female, while for homosexual, you are attracted to the same gender. For pansexual naman, that is the attraction to any person, regardless of the gender, sex, and sexuality. So, kabaliktaran siya ni asexual. Si asexual, kahit anong gender, wala talaga siyang gusto or level of attraction. But for pansexual, he is attracted to any individuals. For pomosexual naman, they reject sexuality labels and do not identify with any of them. So, pag sinabi natin na pomosexual, hindi niya talaga alam kung saan ba or kung papaano niya ile-label yung sarili niya. 'Di ba? Okay. So, hindi niya lang talaga ma-identify. Medyo confused pa 'pag sinabi natin na pomosexual. 'Pag sinabi naman natin na closeted, siyempre they already know, their gender preference, their sexual orientation, yet they choose to keep it. They're not so open, revealing their sexual identity, 'di ba? Usually sila yung mga nasa profession na teachers, 'di ba? Or maybe it's detrimental to their job description kaya sometimes they remain closeted. For demisexual naman, it's on the asexual spectrum, by which they become attracted to individuals or to some genders only under specific circumstances. Panapanahon, by situation, 'di ba? And then, 'pag halimbawa, nasubok sila siguro ng isang situation, then they may be involved in building a romantic or emotional relationship with that person. So, 'pag demisexual, we're not talking about any other gender. Basta kailangan subukan niya muna doon sa isang sitwasyon kung magkakaroon ba ng attraction. So, kung magkakaroon ng attraction, go, 'di ba? They can be together or they can be involved in the romantic partnership. For gay naman, so it's the classification of homosexual kanina. They may be gay or lesbian kasi they are both attracted to similar gender. Kasi yung gay, they are attracted to uh, their men are attracted to men also. While for lesbian, a woman or a female identified person is attracted to the similar gender. So while for sapiosexual naman, uh, it's it is being used to describe people who are attracted to intelligence rather than sex or gender. So basta matalino, okay na siya, 'di ba? Regardless kung anong itsura niya, kung anong gender niya, basta matalino. So that's sapiosexual. So what are the different sexual problems naman that we can associate with this module? Ayan. Siyempre, we have sexual dysfunction. So, what's sexual dysfunction? So, kanina ay diniscuss natin yung iba't ibang phases, di ba, ng arousal. So, for sexual dysfunction, hindi siya nakakarating doon sa level ng arousal. Only hanggang excitement lang at saka hanggang plateau lang siya. It's present whether they are homosexual or whether heterosexual. So, basta hindi nakarating hanggang plateau lang sila, then there's sexual dysfunction. For erectile disorder naman, so it's a very specific disorder of arousal. Kasi pag sinabi nating erectile dysfunction, uh, for males, they always have frequent sexual urges and fantasies, and they also have strong desire to have sex. However, dahil nga meron silang erectile disorder, so it's either um, kusang nagkakaroon ng erection o kaya naman walang erection at all. Yun yung erectile disorder na tinatawag natin. For genitopelvic pain naman, it's the sexual dysfunction that is being experienced by women who are having difficulties when it comes to the act of penetration. So medyo nahihirapan na sila. There is a significant pain that they experience during intercourse. For vaginismus naman, there's the feeling of ripping, burning daw, and tearing during attempted intercourse. Parang napupunit. So kung kanina, genitopelvic, it's the genital and also the pelvic that are experiencing the pain. Dito naman, it's specifically just the vagina. So nagkakaroon ng spasm. I know spasm is like possible na biglang mag-lock. Okay. Stop na tayo doon sa mag-lock. Ayoko nang magkwento. Baka meron ako mabanggit na pangalan dito. So, yon basta yun yung involuntary spasm. So, let's go to fetishistic disorder. Pag fetishistic disorder naman, it's having or developing a sexual attraction to inanimate objects, non-living objects. May mga prisoners, hindi ba, that they have their sex dolls o kaya naman hindi mo maintindihan why are they so aroused with some objects that are not even human at all, pero that really brings them satisfaction. So next is the ejaculatory impotence. So ito naman, na may erection naman. Kaya lang, there is the inability of emitting semen during coitus. Hindi nakakapag-release ng sperm or kahit semen lang during sex. Well, for dyspareunia naman, so it may be physical. I mean, it is more on psychological pag dyspareunia. Usually, this is being experienced by people who had a very traumatic experience when it comes to sex. Kasi nga psychological na lang yung effect ng ng sex or ng pain noong sex mismo. So let's talk about STIs, not the school, but something that you have to be very careful of. So you have the sexually transmitted infection and sexually transmitted disease. So ano nga bang pinagkaiba ng infection at saka ng disease? So, syempre, let's just consider it to be similar in a way. So in what way are they similar? So syempre they are primarily being contracted through sexual intercourse. So syempre kung hindi ka naman active when it comes to your sexual intercourse or sexual activity, then wala namang possibility na magkaroon ka ng STD or STI. So normally, they are bacterial infection daw treated by antibiotics, pero syempre kung hindi ka doon sa normally na pumasok, 'di ba? Doon ka sa unfortunately pumasok, nagkaroon ka ng bacterial infection, na hindi kaya ng antibiotics, well, it can be lifetime or not lifetime, life-threatening. So we have HIV infection that are caused by direct contact with the body fluid. So it's either blood transfusion, uh, breastfeeding o kaya through sexual intercourse or even through the needles or even during pregnancy. So kung si mother meron na siyang HIV or AIDS, there's a possibility na yung bata, I mean not just possibility but a higher chance that the child will also incur the HIV and AIDS. Tapos hindi ba kung wari na hospital ka na dengue ka tapos medyo minalas ka ng very very light, tapos nalagyan ka ng maling blood bag, o 'di ba, ta's yung blood pala na naisalin sa'yo merong HIV, so ayan na, forever na yun sa'yo, congratulations. While for gonorrhea, it is caused by gonococcal bacteria which attack the lining of the mucous membrane such as mouth, throat, vagina, and urethra. So siyempre, when you say gonorrhea, so ayan na po yung as seen in the picture, ah, inuuna niya yung mga membrane, na nandoon sa mouth, sa lalamunan o kaya sa vagina o kaya sa mismong urethra o dun sa part na nagho-hold ng pee ng, isang tao. So I think for gonorrhea, the Tagalog terminology for this one is tulo. While for syphilis naman, so it infects the genital area and also other parts. So worst case scenario, kung kunwari genital area lang, throat lang, mouth lang, or tongue, sometimes syphilis may be cause of paralysis or also may be detrimental to your brain. And sometimes if it becomes really untreated, it may lead to death. So next is chlamydia naman. So it may cause swollen testicles, namamaga yung mga testis ng lalaki, and also there's the burning sensation during urination. Mahapdi kapag umiihi. For herpes naman, so syempre, there's oral and genital herpes. So pag herpes, it may be causing itching, tingling sensation, abscesses, blisters, or in genital areas. So there's no cure for herpes. You have to remember that. While for warts naman, it is caused by human papilloma virus. Hindi lang sa yung warts na nakikita natin sa mga face natin or sa ibang part of the body natin. Yung warts na ito ay nasa genitals ng mga babae o kaya ng lalaki. So, syempre, once that person is infected by warts, so syempre, there's a tendency that you will get it. Next is chancroid naman. It's the bacterial infection that causes open sores on or around the genitals of men and women. So when you say open sores, parang singaw. Kaya lang yung singaw niya hindi nakalagay doon sa mouth, nakalagay siya doon sa genital ng lalaki o kaya sa genital ng babae. So ayun. So you can avoid daw STI and STD if you practice safe sex. And also you do the safest method. What's the safest method? It's avoiding sexual activity. So what are the methods of contraception and reproductive health law? So syempre, start muna tayo sa reproductive health law. So what's the relevance daw of reproductive health law? Kasi ah ito yung dahilan bakit tayo nag-aaral ng sexual self dito sa U-Self. Kasi it gives universal access to the method of contraception, to sexual education, to birth control, and other maternal care na po pwedeng ma-access ng isang Filipino citizen. So, syempre, it promotes awareness among the adolescents and even the youths like you when it comes to reproductive health. Kasi your questions daw must be addressed properly through proper sex education setup. So, what are the different contraceptions daw? You have the family planning methods. So, syempre, number one is abstinence. You refrain from, this is the total control and uh, abstaining from the sexual intercourse. Next is ovulation detection. Syempre, you're going to use over-the-counter kit to predict the ovulation. So there's also another way using your cell phone by downloading application. In that way, you can also detect when will you become ovulated, 'di ba? Makikita ninyo kung talaga bang you will ovulate 12 to 14 days before the next menstruation or iba yung bilang ninyo or when exactly will ovulation occur in your body. So you check that application also. For cervical mucus method naman, syempre, you have to seek assistance from your OB-GYN or maybe from your doctor. So the cervical mucus must be copious, thin, and watery. So other than copious, thin, and watery, there must be no other texture of your cervical mucus. Kapag iba ang kulay, ibig sabihin may problema. So symptothermal method, ano daw yon? It's the combination of BBT method and also cervical mucus method. So ano yung BBT method na yan? So that's uh, it's a way of testing your temperature every morning before getting up. And then it also takes note of the appearance of the cervical mucus. So, i-identify niyan ano yung cervical mucus na kung saan ay kung pwede na ba yung cervical mucus mo or capable ba of being fertilized. While for BBT, let's check the temperature. Nakakalimutan ko. I just want to be accurate. So, ayun, your normal temperature when you are in the early pregnancy will be 36.5 to 37. So, when you become pregnant, syempre, it rises 5.5 degrees Celsius from that. So, ibig sabihin, it's possible na 37 to 37.5. Yun yung babantayan ninyo na temperature. Next is coitus interruptus. Coitus interruptus is called withdrawal. So when the man emits the semen, then he immediately releases it or removes it from the female reproductive system. While for calendar method, katulad din nung sa ovulation detection, you may also download the application coming from your phones or Google Store. It will identify when are you going to have your next menstruation and also ovulation. Basta proper yung pag-input nyo ng data. Syempre, hindi pwedeng hula-hula doon. Next is for the artificial method, you have the contraceptives. And for contraceptives, you have pill or contraceptives. And it's either the estrogen and progesterone supply. Well, for transdermal patch, you have the combination of the estrogen and progesterone in a form of patch. Idinidikit lang siya dun sa katawan ng babae. Pero yung contraceptive iniinom. For these contraceptives, available to sa mga barangay health center or maybe public hospitals. Kaya nga tayo merong reproductive health law kasi para magkaroon kayo ng accessibility dito. Next is for vaginal ring. Vaginal ring is a silicone ring inserted in your vagina. Diba? Inserted vaginally, nakakaloka. And remains there for 3 weeks and then being removed on the 4th week as menstrual flow would occur. So, ayun. Kung ano yung picture na nakikita ninyo doon sa PowerPoint presentation, that's the appearance of vaginal ring. So, ayun. Ipapasok yon doon sa vaginal opening ng babae para syempre ma-block niya yung mga uh, yung pagpasok ng sperm or ng semen. So for subdermal implants naman, it's not subdermal implants, abdermal implant siya. So there are two road-like implants na ipapasok naman under the skin of the woman. So there's the rod, literal na bakal, ipapasok doon sa braso ng mga babae. So, ayun, pili kayo, girls. Is it vaginal ring or subdermal implant ang ilalagay sa loob ng katawan ninyo? So, ayun, kung ano yung ini-illustrate dito, yun yung subdermal implant. Well, for injection naman, so it inhibits ovulation and then it may prevent, syempre, menstruation for like 3 months. And then after 3 months, balik ka na naman to have the injection. Intrauterine device naman, it's a T-shape naman na ipapasok naman doon sa uterus ng babae. So again, syempre parang hindi makapag-penetrate yung mga sperm or hindi makalabas yung mga eggs at makapag-meet ng sperm. For diaphragm naman, ito naman daw yung ipinapasok din sa uterus ng babae. By which inhibits again the sperm, and then it's like a rubber disc naman that would fit on the cervix and being placed syempre before the coitus. Cervical cup, it appears the same way as the menstrual cup. Kung kanina doon sa diaphragm, inilalagay din siya before the sexual intercourse. Then cervical cap also is like a thimble and a thin rim na pwedeng ilagay doon sa loob ng babae, doon sa uterus for like 48 hours. Pero more than 48 hours, dapat alisin na siya. Next is male condom. So it's the synthetic rubber sheet that is placed on the erect male reproductive organ and also traps the sperm during emission of sperm. So it also prevents from acquiring of STDs. So for female condoms naman, so alam na natin yung male condom. We can just buy it from 7-Eleven or other stores, drugstores, or maybe groceries. They are just the rubber sheets. I think no need to explain on that. Syempre, you have to use it to avoid STD and STI. It may serve really as a very good protection, most especially for men. While for female condoms naman, they have inner rings that will cover the cervix and also yung ano niyan, yung male condom, yung lalaki yung nagsusuot. For female condom naman, ipapasok yung mismong condom doon sa loob ng babae. So, syempre, for condoms, they require no prescription. While for surgical methods naman, we have vasectomy. Ano yung vasectomy? Ang puputulin dito ay ang itatali dito ay yung vas deferens. 'Di ba? Para magkaroon daw ng blockage noong passage ng sperm. So, magkakaroon ng small incision pagdating doon sa scrotum and then itatali yung vas deferens. So, ayun yung last na, ano niya, how do you call it? Yung last na process niya. So, syempre, there's cauterizing. Pag sinabing cauterizing kasi class, there's a part na either binaburn siya para hindi siya magkaroon ng, para totally ma-block na yung passage ng sperm. For tubal ligation naman, it is performed by occluding. It is performed by occluding the fallopian tube through cutting, cauterizing, or blocking to inhibit the passage of both the sperm and the ova. So kung kanina sa vasectomy, ang vas deferens ang itinatay, dito sa tubal ligation, ang itinatay dito ay yung fallopian tube ng babae. Okay, so we already discussed this Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012. So, syempre, for questions, let's just meet on our online class. Okay, so have a great day, everyone.